What's going on, my homies? Jolt here from TheTokenMinorities, and I am back with the Week 7 Battle of GBA Season 9, where your KC Jirachiefs are taking on DeathlyiAm, the coach of the Tennessee Trubbish. Make sure to go check out Deathly. He'll be linked down in the description below. Make sure to check out his side of the battle as well, which hopefully will be out around the same time as this one is. So just make sure to go show him some love over there as well, for sure. He's a really cool guy. I hope to get to know him better here as the season progresses. But anyways, let's go ahead and talk about the team here that we opted to bring for this week against the Tennessee Trubbish. As this week we're packing the Manaphy, Scolipede, the Mismagius, finally, the first time all season, the Groudon, Magearna, and the Mega Aerodactyl against his Tapu Fini, Magnezone, Mega Aggron, Volcarona, Nihilego, and the Kyurem White. So in case you haven't already seen the team builder, make sure to go check that out. It's going to be linked down in the description below with all of the details on this team that we are bringing here for this week. But just as a very brief summary, we are bringing a 4 attacks utility Manaphy with U-turn and knockoff, a Spikes 3 attacks Fightinium Z Superpower Scolipede, an Assault Vest Mismagius with 4 attacks obviously. The Groudon is Choice Scarfed. The Magearna is Shift Gear with an Expert Belt and Hidden Power Rock to help me out against the Volcarona. And then the Mega Aerodactyl is Very Fat Spadef to help me out against the Volcarona as well with Stealth Rock. Now Volcarona, huge threat against my team, so I'm trying to do my best with the team build and how I play this game to prevent the Volcarona from beating me, as honestly if I give it one free turn and he has Stealth Rock on the field, I probably lose that game immediately. So I have to be really careful about that here as we approach this game. But with that said, a couple brief shout outs. Thank you to Styx for genning my team for me this week, and to Aaron2420 or whoever he had helped me out with recording the game for me as well. Just a lot of people were busy this week with their schedules, so just really appreciate all you who were able to help make this happen. So with all of that said, let's go ahead and dive right on into this game here. As like I mentioned in the team builder, my plan was always to lead off with the Manaphy against Deathly, just because it matches up really well against the vast majority of his team, and if I have a poor matchup in a certain situation, I can just U-turn out against that. So good luck to Deathly here as we're going to jump into the game, leading off with the Manaphy as he opts to lead off with the Tapu Fini, which I definitely expected to see the Mega Aggron as the lead here in this specific matchup, just because I think he could really benefit from getting Stealth Rock up against my team really early on in the game. Maybe even the Nihilego, since he opted to bring that here in this matchup, but I am just going to take this as an opportunity to go straight for a knockoff here against the Fini, as a knockoff ensures obviously that he loses his leftovers, which means it's going to be a lot easier to wear down here throughout the remainder of the game, especially getting that knockoff off against him on turn 1. That's phenomenal as far as I'm concerned. Now here I'm just going to go for the U-turn, expecting him to go for a Moonblast after he went for a Nature's Madness here on the following turn. So I'm just going to try to get my Scolipede in on the Moonblast, as he actually just goes for a second Nature's Madness. So really nice play there on his part. He probably expected me to try to switch out there in that position. So he gets me there with the Nature's Madness, as now I'm going to just go for the Spikes, expecting him to switch his Tapu Fini out into his Mega Aggron, but he actually opts to stay in and go for another Nature's Madness. So that was a little bit surprising. I definitely expected to see the Water move come out there if he was staying in against the Scolipede. I believe there's a chance I could have survived that Water move regardless if he had gone for it, but even so, we definitely are able to take the Nature's Madness here. I'm going to fire off a Poison Jab just in case he opts to stay in again, and he actually does, and he goes for another Nature's Madness. Now this is where I guess a misunderstanding comes into play on Deathly's part. I think he was unaware of how Nature's Madness functioned in draft form, or in Pokemon. I think he thought that it was always going to do like 50% of damage instead of 50% of the total health at the time. So you know, those things happen, but we're going to benefit from it a lot here, as I'm going to obviously survive with my Scolipede. I just go for another Poison Jab in case he wants to stay in and sack, as honestly it looked like he was pretty intent on just staying in with Nature's Madnessing there for a while, but he opts to go into his Magnezone, which I'm pretty okay with because I am packing the Fightinium Z, and I'm going to be able to fire that off here against the Magnezone, and unless he's like a Choppleberry or just like a really fat defensive Magnezone, this should be able to knock him out, but we're going to have to see what happens here, as the Magnezone is going to not appreciate this hit whatsoever. He's not packing the Chopper Berry, and he is going to go down to the all-out pummeling. So really nice to get rid of that Magnezone at this point in the game, because that means my Magearna should be able to win this game a lot more easily now with the potential Assault Vest Magnezone out of the way. I am a little surprised he didn't try to go into his Mega Aggron there instead of the Magnezone, as he would have been able to take the hit, but you know, that's pretty nice as far as I'm concerned. Now here he brings in the threat, the Volcarona. I can't give it a single free turn. Thankfully he doesn't have rocks up, so I can just go hard into my Mega Aerodactyl, knowing I can take any one hit at +1 from this Volcarona. No matter what it is, I can take anything at +1, and he does just go straight for the Bug Buzz instead of going for a Quiver Dance, which is really nice, because now I don't have to immediately fear losing the game to Volcarona. So I'm just going to go straight for the Rock Slide. Could have gone for Stealth Rock. The switch into Mega Aggron was very obvious at this point in the game, but I'm not messing around with the threat that sweeps my entire team in my face. So I'm just going to go straight for the Rock Slide to ensure that he is not going to be a threat on this specific turn, as he does opt to just go into the Mega Aggron. Now with the amount of health that my Mega Aerodactyl is at, and I'm not packing Roost on this set, with the amount of health that I am at, this is no longer going to be a safe check to the Volcarona if he's a Life Orb variant. So what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to potentially sack off my Mega Aerodactyl to get Stealth Rock up in this game, because now that the Tapu Fini is so weakened and I have Stealth Rock and Spikes on the field, he won't be able to defog these hazards away with anything on his team. The Tapu Fini is going to go down. I'll be able to take a chunk of damage out of the Volcarona next time he comes in. So I potentially sack this thing off, kind of expecting him to try to go for his own Stealth Rock on that turn, but he actually goes for an Avalanche, which is a pretty cool burn there on his part, but we are actually able to survive that hit because we didn't make contact with him and double its damage. So that's pretty nice there for sure. At least I think that's how Avalanche works. If not, then I guess correct me in the comments. But regardless, we are going to be able to survive that turn. I'm going to pivot into my Manaphy on the second Avalanche, and now I'm just going to take this as an opportunity to fire off a Scald. If he does decide to leave the Aggron in, as he does opt to do, that's going to put it in guaranteed range of my Groudon later on in the game, as well as probably putting it into range of Aursphere from my Magearna after it comes in one more time on the Stealth Rock and the Spike. So that's really nice damage there, as I'm just going to go for another Scald because I really have no reason not to make that play. He can go into the Kyurem if he wants, but this Manaphy is actually designed to kind of be my pivot into the Kyurem in the first place, so I'm really, you know, pretty okay with this. He's going to take a ton of damage from the entry hazards, plus a Scald, bringing him down to about 50% already with just one switch into entry hazards and a Scald. So here I'm just going to leave my Manaphy in. It's done its job, honestly. It's gotten rid of the leftovers on the Tapu Fini. If I can get this Dazzling Gleam off on the Kyurem and he doesn't go for a Roost, it means this thing is going to be dead on entry to hazards as well. So that's great as far as I'm concerned. But he actually overpredicts here. He might have thought that he could knock out my Manaphy with an Ice Beam, but I am packing a lot of bulk investment on my Manaphy here. I'm able to actually survive the Ice Beam from this as well. Then I'm just going to fire off the U-turn, knowing it should be able to knock out the Kyurem, and also knowing that Scarf Groudon is looking in prime position to actually clean up the rest of this game already at this stage in the battles. I am just going to pop the U-turn into my Groudon here. I'm going to set up the Drought, and now I'm just going to start clicking Earthquake. I had Precipice Blades. I don't really need to click it because his entire team really is weakened significantly at this point. As Choice Scarf Groudon going, and I'm going to just go straight for the Earthquake as he brings in his Aggron. That's not going to be able to take this hit. I don't care if it's Max Fizz Def Mega Aggron. There's no way it's surviving this hit from the Groudon, and that is going to go down here, leaving him with 3 Pokemon remaining, one of which already going down to entry hazard whenever it comes in. Next comes in is the Volcarona, and there is a chance this could be a Choice Scarf variant. It hasn't revealed to ever switch up move, so if it is Choice Scarf, that might be able to do a lot of damage here with the Fire Blast, but he ends up not being the Choice Scarf as his item. He's actually a Z move on it, which makes sense, but Groudon is going to be able to outspeed this and knock it out with an Earthquake as well, leaving him with 2 Pokemon. In comes the Tapu Fini, which will go down to the entry hazards, meaning that all he has left now is Nihilego. It's Nihilego versus the world, as we're going to have to see what type of set this is. If it's like an Air Balloon set, maybe it could put in a little bit of work here at this point in the game. If it's Choice Scarf, that would be his only way to outspeed me. and maybe he can go for like a grass knot. I'm not sure if that'd be able to knock me out, but he does opt to go for the Sludge Wave rather, and he does outspeed my Groudon, revealing that he is a Choice Scarf Nihilego. But we are obviously going to be able to survive that Sludge Wave as well, and Groudon's going to pick up yet another kill in this game, really starting to make its case for the MVP race in the GBA. I think that's now 10 or 11 kills for Groudon on the season, and that's pretty good considering I didn't even have him in week 1 this season. So good game to Deathly. This did come down to, I think, the misplays early on in the game with the Tapu Fini really did hurt him as the game progressed, as it allowed his Tapu Fini to get so weakened down to the point where my offensive team was going to be able to pretty much run through him as soon as I seized momentum with hazards on the field. So that's how it goes sometimes. You got to learn from your mistakes, and I think he'll never make that mistake with Nature's Madness again in his Pokemon career. That's for sure. But yeah, well, once again, good game to Deathly. Make sure to go check out his side of the match as well. And as for us, we are now 5-2 with a pretty good differential, and we have a game coming up against a good friend of mine, Tom Z, the coach of the San Jose Sharpedos. I haven't played him in a really long time. Fun fact, I haven't played Tom since my first ever season of draft format, way back in ORAS. This was a long time ago. I think it was ORAS, it might have been X and Y. Regardless, it was very, very long ago, the last time I played Tom in an official Draft League game. So I'm really looking forward to that game as well. He has changed up his team a lot recently, so it's going to be a pretty exciting game. It's not really the game I expected to have against him earlier on in the season when, I was kind of looking at the matchup, looking at his team and trying to, passively think about what I might do in that particular matchup. He's changed up a lot of stuff on his team. I'm not going to spoil it here just because I want him to have the opportunity to do that himself if he hasn't already announced it at this point. But even so, it's going to be a fun game for sure. So that'll be coming out tomorrow. It's going to be next week. Sorry, not going to be tomorrow quite yet. But yeah, I hope you're looking forward to that game. I know I am as well. But that about wraps it up here for this week of the GBA. Thanks for watching, guys, and I will see you all next week. Peace.